It's quite simple. Press the free like button if you think that Christian Cage was the hottest heel in the business before Edge got to All Elite Fake Wrestling. And he was the hottest heel before Nick Wayne got into the picture. Also, press the free like button if you think that Rey Mysterio was always a deadbeat dad to Dominik. Because in my opinion, look man, I agree with JBL from last week on SmackDown. Rey was always a deadbeat stepfather to Dominik. Facts on facts. Listen, man, Rey Mysterio is working y'all, man. He was always a deadbeat stepfather to Dominik since day one because he always knew that there was a strong possibility that Eddie G was his real biological father. That's why he always held some kind of resentment towards Dom. Now, look at Dom now. Remember? Now he acts like Eddie G. Now he's one of the most hated heels on the roster because he's acting like Eddie G. When he was trying to act like Rey, he was not over. So I'm starting to reflect back on this Nick Wayne and Christian Cage storyline with Edge. Now, I would say before Nick Wayne, Christian Cage was carrying All Elite Fake Wrestling. He was the best part of the show every week. But now that I'm starting to reflect back in hindsight on this storyline, this is a blatant ripoff of Dom and his stepfather Rey and Rhea Ripley. Like obviously, I feel like Christian Cage, he is playing Rhea Ripley. And Nick Wayne, obviously, he's playing Dom. Now, do I have a problem with it? Now, I would say since the 80s, there has always been counter programming with every show. I remember Vince was trying to counter program the NWA and WCW, and vice versa. I remember there was a point in time where he wanted to sign the Road Warriors, but he couldn't sign them. So he said, you know what? Let me make my own Road Warriors, which he did. So this has been going on for years and years and years. But not to a point where this is like a blatant ripoff of a storyline. But when it comes to Nick Wayne and Christian Cage, yes, this is a blatant ripoff of Rhea Ripley and Dom. Now it's weird because now Edge is involved. I'm like, come on, man, this is so blatant. A blatant ripoff because, fun fact, Edge put over Dom. Who was the first guy that Dom turned heel on? It was Edge, remember? Now Edge is in the same storyline, but with different guys, right? Come on, man. Blatant ripoff. Very, very strange. So now Edge is trying to put over Nick Wayne as the fucking new Dom, right? So yes, this is a fucking ripoff. But there's levels to being a ripoff and counter programming. I remember TNA was trying to counter program the World Wrestling Federation with Abyss versus Kane and vice versa. But when it comes to Dom and Nick Wayne, I'm like, this is too blatant because Dom, he is still hot. Rhea, they are still hot as a duo. And look, Dom, he calls Rhea mommy, right? Now Nick Wayne is calling Christian Cage his dad, his father. I'm like, come on, man. You can counter program characters, but storylines, and both are still fresh and new. Dom, he is still a heel. Rey and Dom have not made up. So let's talk about Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne has denounced both of his parents. Same thing as Dom. Dom has denounced his mom and his stepfather, Rey. Let's compare timeline storylines. So Dom, remember when he told his mom to shut up right to her face? Then fast forward to Nick Wayne. He told his mom to her face that she is now dead to him. I'm like, come on, man. It's like, how can you not see the blatant ripoff? Come on, man. Come on, man. We know what you're doing. Now I see what Tully was talking about. Now I see what Tully fucking Blanchard was talking about. You are trying to copy the World Wrestling Federation with their storylines. Listen, I don't have an issue with counter-programming gimmicks, but I have an issue with trying to counter-program storylines. Because storylines should always be original. There was no Dom and Rhea like years ago. This storyline is very original. So now, Con Man has Nick Wayne turning on his mom, just like how Dom turned on both of his parents. So now he is trying to get heat on Nick Wayne. But to me, this is like a very, very, very poor man's Rhea and Dom. Nick Wayne is not on the level of a Dom. I can't see him trying to get that same heat that Dom currently has. You know why? Because we've already seen it recently. That's the difference. Con Man is like, look, man, he bit off more than he could chew. It's like, you can't rehash this storyline this early. It's like, bro, you have to wait at least 2 or 3 years to steal people's storylines. Because now we just see Nick Wayne as a bootleg Dom. That's what he is. Both guys are spoiled brats who both turn on their parents. Come on, man. Now, what do I think about Nick Wayne's mom hitting Edge with the TNT title? Honestly, that was obvious and it made sense. Listen, at the end of the day, she is a mother. And Edge, he hit Nick Wayne with multiple spears and he did a concerto on her son. Listen, at the end of the day, she will always be a mom first. She owes Edge nothing. So that makes sense for her to cost Edge that title. But man, dude, the fact that Edge is involved with another spoiled brat storyline, how can you not see this as a fucking ripoff? So here is another comparison between Nick Wayne and Dom. So last week, Nick Wayne's mom cost Edge his title against Christian Cage. And I bet you were wondering, why the hell would she do that knowing her son is an asshole? Well, at the end of the day, she's still a mom and that's still her son. And obviously, she did not like what Edge did to her son right in front of her. So that makes sense. But let's compare that to Edge and Dom. I think last year, Ray did not want Edge to fight Dom, right? Because that is still his son at the end of the day. And obviously, he did not want Edge to fight his son, even though his son is an asshole. So Nick Wayne, his heat is coming from the fact that he has turned on his dead father and he has turned on his mom. Just like how Dom has turned on Ray and his own mom, right? Same thing. Now he views Rhea as his new mom, just like how Nick Wayne views Christian Cage as his new father. So I just heard a video clip of Eric Bischoff saying he wished he had his own China in WCW. And I'm like, bruh, your memory must be fading because you did have a bootleg China. And I think her name was Asia. Remember? I think back in what, 01 or 2000? Yeah. WCW had their own bootleg China. So come on, Eric Bischoff, don't give us that bullshit saying you wish you had your own China, because you did try to make your own China. You did try to counter-program the World Wrestling Federation with China, with Asia. Nobody's dumb, bruh. We got receipts. She was a blatant ripoff of China. Go and look back at her matches. She was a ripoff of China. So let's do another parallel comparison. So there's Nick Wayne. Okay, there's Dom. Okay, there's Christian Cage. There's Rhea. There's Lucha fucking Saurus. Let's compare him to Damian Priest, right? Lucha fucking Saurus, he is the muscle for both Nick Wayne and Cage. Just how Priest is the muscle for Rhea and Dom. Like I said, Con Man does watch the WWF. He is stealing their storylines. Like I said, I don't have an issue with trying to counter-program gimmicks. Like I said, but I have an issue with trying to counter-program storyline and storyline when both storylines are still happening. This makes no fucking sense. Why the fuck would you turn Nick Wayne into a bootleg Dom? Like, dog, obviously the crowd sees it. The crowd sees it, man. He's not going to get that same kind of heat that Dom has. Dom, that's called organic heat. Yes, Nick Wayne, he is an asshole to his mom, but his mom is not over like Ray is. That's the problem. She has no experience on TV, which means she has no relationship with that audience like Ray's family has, right? Because Dom has been on TV since he was a child. So that makes sense for the crowd to see him as a spoiled brat asshole, because we have seen Dom grow up in front of our eyes. So that makes sense. So it's going to be hard to have Nick Wayne as their new Dom, knowing that, bro, we don't care about his mom like that. That's the problem. And his mom is not that good of an actor. That's the main issue. Dom's mom, she is a very, very good actor. It's like, yeah, people really want to see Ray whoop his son's ass. But don't get twisted. I still keep that same energy. Meaning, I still think Christian Cage is still the best thing in all elite fake wrestling. Without Edge and without Nick Wayne, he was still the best part of the show and still is. But now, you are adding too many fucking layers to this storyline. I feel like we got Edge and Christian Cage too early. Like, obviously that match was going to go into some bullshit on Dynamite last week. We all knew the outcome of that match, but why would you give it away this early? Just to push a Nick Wayne's mom fucking storyline agenda. I feel like, man, it's like you are doing too much, man. Christian Cage was doing just fine without Edge involved. He was doing just fine without Nick Wayne's mom involved. He was still hot. He still is, but now you are just adding too much shit to it now. Like, I just feel like, man, it's too early to give Nick Wayne this kind of storyline. Because, dog, he's been in All Elite Fake Wrestling for like, what, maybe 6-8 months? Not that long. So, we don't feel sorry for him yet. We don't feel like he's a brat yet. Because we don't fucking know him. When it comes to Dom was a rich, spoiled brat his whole life. That's his gimmick. Now he has turned on his stepfather and his mom. So yeah, the crowd hates him. Because we have seen him since he was a child. So yeah, that makes sense. Look, man, we all know that Ray was an awful father. Look, man, we all know that's facts. Ray is a deadbeat dad. Because he's jealous because he found out that fucking Eddie G is Dom's real father. We all know that as facts. Ask the DNA. Just look at the DNA. It's facts. That's why Ray was always a deadbeat dad to Dom. Because he knows that fucking Eddie G is his real biological father. We all know that's facts. Now, will Nick Wayne end up getting over? I'm going to say no. Because, like, we haven't seen him enough. It's like he is still a rookie wrestler. Like I said, this is too early to give him this kind of storyline. When it came to Dom, okay, this was always going to happen. This was always a plan. This was always the storyline since day one. That eventually Dom was going to turn on Ray. This was the whole storyline since day one, ever since Dom was a good guy. We all knew this was going down that path. Eventually Dom was going to fight his father. But they got history. That's why it fucking makes sense. They got history. Going back to I'm your real poppy with fucking Eddie G. This storyline has been in the fucking brewing for the past decade, past 15 years. We all knew eventually his son was going to turn on him to side with somebody else. But that's the main difference. Nick Wayne, he ain't got it like that. I felt like, man, I feel like Darby should be more involved in this storyline. That's what I don't get, right? Darby should be more involved. This is what I mean. If you are trying to turn Nick Wayne into your Dom, this is what you should do. You should have made Darby and Nick Wayne tag team champions for like maybe 1 year. Okay, make them get over. Give them some heat. Give Darby and Nick Wayne some heat. Make the crowd fall in love with both those guys. And then once Nick Wayne turns on him, okay, that will give him some tons of fucking heat. Because then it will seem like, okay, damn, Nick Wayne, you gonna turn on your mentor all these years? This whole year, Darby has been your guy. But you fucking broke them up too fast, though. We don't know who Nick Wayne is. All we see is a guy that is a cosplay Will Ospreay. That's what he is. He is a Walmart Will Ospreay. We don't know him. But we knew who Dom was because we love Ray. So when the crowd sees that, damn, Ray, his own stepson, don't like him, that made the crowd hate Dom. But the crowd don't hate Nick Wayne, not just yet. What is there to hate? We have no bond. If I'm a fan of All Elite Fake Wrestling, I have no bond with a Nick Wayne to care if he is a heel to Darby Allin. Why? Bro, I don't know Nick Wayne. Right? I don't know this kid like that. But I know we knew who Dom was. He is the son of fucking Eddie G. We know who he is. He's been on TV for years and years and years. So there's that bond he had with the audience. That's why the audience keeps on booing him. Because they feel sorry for Ray. But nobody feels sorry for Darby and Nick Wayne. Bro, we did not know who the fuck Nick Wayne was 5-6 months ago. That's the issue. Nobody knew who the fuck this kid was. So why should we care that he has denounced his mom and his father? If hell, bro, we didn't know who the Waynes were last year, bro. That's not how that works. You can't make the audience feel some kind of way about his mom and Nick Wayne and his dead father. That's not how that works, Tony Khan, man. So did Christian Cage need this storyline? No, he did not. He did not need Nick Wayne. This is too early. Like I said, Tony Khan, man, he should have made Nick Wayne and Darby Allin get over first as a tag team, so Nick Wayne can get more heat. There's no heat between Darby and Nick fucking Wayne. Dude, unless you are some indie Mark fan, you don't know who Nick Wayne is. You don't know that him and Darby Allin are best friends. You don't know. I don't know. So why the fuck, as a fan, should I care that Nick Wayne has turned on his mom, his dead father, and Darby Allin if, bro, you've been on TV for like 8 months, bro. We don't know you. I don't know the kind of bond you had with your mom and your dead father and Darby Allin. That's not how that works. You can't bring indie storylines to TV. That's why All Elite Fake Wrestling is not connecting. You can't bring indie storylines to TV and think the audience will care. Nobody cares about if Nick Wayne has turned on Darby Allin. I'm sorry, nobody cares. Darby Allin, yes, he's over. He's mega over. That's the problem. Dude, take advantage of that. It's like I said, those guys, man, they should have been tag team partners for like maybe 1 year. Build that bond, build that story, build that connection for like 1 year first. So the audience can feel sorry for Darby Allin. Let that sink in. Nobody feels sorry for Darby Allin in this storyline, right? Because Con-Man, he did not cook. This was like fast food, okay? This was fast food being ordered. He didn't cook it. This was not cooked in the fucking oven. It's like, dude, you have to build up the eventual split between Darby and Nick Wayne. Make sure the audience loves Nick Wayne first. At least the audience loved Dom, right? Remember? At least the audience loved the Mysterios. That's the difference. You dumb bitch. That's the main difference. The audience loved the Mysterios. The audience don't know who the fuck Nick Wayne is to care that he turned on Darby Allin. That's called bad storytelling. You gotta cook. You can't order fast food, man, when it comes to fake wrestling. You gotta cook. You gotta fucking marinate. Let the audience feast first. Holy shit. You gotta be a chef, not a fucking fast food guy. Damn. So, does this storyline have upside and potential? I mean, no, I don't think so. Based on it was too fast. Why the fuck would you turn Nick Wayne heel this fast, bruh? If you were gonna copy the WWF with Dom and Ray, at least do what they did. Have a slow build, a 2-year slow build first. This was 2 years in the making with Dom and Ray. It was fucking building up. People knew Dom was going to turn on his father eventually. People knew he was going to turn on his stepdad, Ray. So, I feel like Con-Man, bruh, he has dropped the ball on this storyline. It was too early. Cage was doing just fine without Nick Wayne. Now it feels forced to me. It feels forced. All right, I'm done.